So we're gonna go ahead and start with Travis. Um, just today we announced that we will be participating in the new season for the G League in Orlando. Can you just talk to us a little bit about like what this means for the development of the players to and hope to one day be in Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I think the question hits the nail on the head. I think that's what it's all about. The obviously we're in times we've never been in before, and we've got some very unique challenges that we haven't had to deal with in the past, in terms of COVID, and everything that comes with that. And so, obviously we would love to be playing a normal 50 game schedule and be in the Valley in front of our fans and our home court, home crowds. But this is, given the circumstances, this is the next best thing. And the G League's done a very good job of organizing this and dealing with the logistics and again, the challenges that come with all this. And, as an organization, we see it as a great opportunity to give our guys a chance to play. I think the big things I would say are, everybody saw the NBA calendar and how it was altered in terms of the draft, in terms of no summer league, in terms of limited training camp, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is just a great opportunity for our young players in Houston, for our players on the Vipers, to get back on the court, to show, how they've progressed during this time off, to show NBA teams what they can do and to continue developing for their eventual next steps in their career.
We will go ahead and open it up for media. If you guys have questions, you guys can go ahead.
Hey, Travis, this is Ray from South Texas Border Sports. First of all, happy holidays and happy New Year to you. I've got to ask you.
Ray.
Thank you. I've got to ask you, what's been the learning curve from year one now all the way up to now, pre-pandemic, and then during this pandemic? What's been the biggest learning curve that you have had to adjust to as one of the younger general managers across the league?
Yeah, it's I would say it's been, in some ways, on a personal growth level, it's been a really good time to be a young general manager because there are so many things that we've had to deal with. And obviously, some of those things are very, very serious things with COVID and with our player health. And then some of them it's been an opportunity for me to have sort of my feet to the fire with, working through some of the roster challenges, some of the logistics of all this. And so it's been, in a professional sense, it's been an opportunity to really, really have my hands on everything with the organization. And so that's been a huge growth opportunity where, instead of just being focused on roster or focused on staffing or focused on, these specific areas, it's been an opportunity to touch on everything, to, really continue to build relationships with our staff, with our players, through this downtime, help them work through that as best we can. And then, the other thing I would say is just, it's given us an opportunity and given me an opportunity to evaluate some of the things we did last year. And, I can't tell you how many hours I've spent on the phone with Mahmoud each week, just talking through, what do we think we did really well? What do we think we didn't do so well? And what can we improve this year? And that's on the court, that's structure, that's processes, that's everything. And, in a normal year, the offseason moves so quickly that you don't always have time to reflect in the ways that you want to reflect and to prepare in the ways that you want to prepare because you have more of a time crunch. And this year, I would just say, we've had to be very proactive to not let that time slip away, but it's also been an opportunity to, to that point, to reflect, to prepare in different ways, and to hopefully build on the things that we did well last year and fix some of the things we didn't do so well.
Hey, Travis. It's Henry with the
Henry, how you doing?
Good. Happy New Year's to all of you. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a cat, so we can fight with your dog anytime you want. What's the next steps now? What are the next steps between now and when the season starts? And with all these players in one place, what does this mean as far as scouting, trade opportunities, different things like that, that would be much tougher when they're all over the country?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So in terms of next steps, really it's finalizing our roster, which we should be doing in the next week or so. Part of that process will be the G League draft. Not sure how specifically I can speak to that. Just I'm not sure if the logistics are finalized, but that should be coming through in the next, the upcoming week or two here ahead of the bubble. That'll be a key piece in finalizing our roster. And then to that point, it is a very unique situation. In some ways, it's like the G League Showcase, where you've got all the teams in one place, all the staff in one place. And so what it does is provide tons of scouting opportunity. So I'll, as of now, the plan is for me to travel to the bubble with the team, travel to Orlando, be there day in, day out. I'll obviously have team responsibilities, with RGV, but also a big portion of my being there will be a scouting perspective as well. And that'll be, looking for players for RGV to, if we have opportunities to where we get a player called up, hopefully need to fill a spot, we're prepared. If we have opportunities, with the big club, we're prepared. And so really what I would say is it's about being proactive with the opportunity. As you said, normally the travel is prohibits us from scouting extensively live at the G League level. Outside of Showcase, this is really almost an extended showcase where all the teams will be there, all the participating teams, I should say, all the the staff will be able to really get our pulse on this pool, and hopefully that'll allow us to to be proactive, making the moves we need to make to have a great year.
Hey Travis, Amanda Atwell from CBS4 here. My question is kind of, now obviously just doing the best you can this season to get a season underway, the bubble concept is the most feasible option, but not being able to host any games at Burt Ogden, are there concerns for the financial impact this could have on the organization?
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Happy New Year. What I would say is I would defer that question to Renee. Unfortunately, he runs our business side. I'm more almost strictly on the basketball side, so apologies. I just don't feel best equipped to answer that one. So hopefully he'll get on here and we can redirect that to him. Apologies. Thank you.
Travis, I've got one for you. With one of the newer rules that's been set in place for as far as like roster decisions are concerned is trying to get that one NBA vet. Will that be taken into a part of the equation for your team, or it's just strictly you're going to try to develop as many players as you can for the Rockets?
Yeah, I mean, I think something we're always focused on. In terms of the specific rule, I believe you're referencing with the NBA vet, that was a window that we had during sort of this roster planning process that has come and gone. And so we chose not to pursue a player for that specific role. Now, that doesn't mean we can't still add NBA vets like that through other mechanisms, be it the draft or trade or other mechanisms. But yeah, I mean, I think you hit on it, Ray. I think the biggest thing for us is always, obviously fielding a very highly competitive team, and within that, finding players that we feel like have potential to be up with the Rockets at some point. And whether that's our assignment players, whether it's our two-way players, whether it's our players on the regular G League roster, we want to feel very strongly that everybody we're bringing in has a chance to get that call up and help the team. And so what I would say is we're always going to be aggressive. We're not going to exclude ourselves from whether that is more of an NBA vet or whether it's more of a young player that we see it as a 2 or 3 year development plan. We're going to do our work in Houston and in RGV to identify the players we think have the best chances to help us, whether that is short-term or long-term. Those are obviously some of the decisions we'll make. But I would just say, big picture, going to be aggressive, going to continue to try to emphasize developing our young players, but if we have an opportunity to get in more of a veteran guy where we think they're a legitimate call-up candidate in the short term, we won't shy away from that either.
Will some of the players, as I'm reading the press release, some of the players be returning to the Valley for physicals and things like that before heading to Orlando? And do you have anybody on the team already?
So rosters are not yet final. I don't want to speak to players on the team already, only because things are still fluid. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want guys to misinterpret anything. What I can say is we have a very good picture of what the roster is going to look like. Some of those players will be players that you've seen in the past, guys that we've had in RGV before returning, and some will obviously be new faces. In terms of the process for physicals and all that, still being finalized with the league. There are, I would just say there are some scenarios where players come to RGV just from a logistic perspective for physicals, things like that. But in those scenarios, that's more of a medical, physical COVID process. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll have opportunity to have them sit down with fans, with media, with anything besides Zoom sessions, right? We can do this. But I don't think there'll be, real opportunities where we'll be holding a media day or anything like that. And just as a quick follow-up, Henry, to answer your question roster-wise, I think in the next week, we should have a lot more clarity on what the final roster is going to look like. I think, and I do think, as usual, we had some players that were in camp with the Rockets that didn't make the team that'll be down here. So you can, I think you can start to map out what some of that'll look like already. But again, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling you 100% these are the names just quite yet.
Any more questions for Travis? No? Okay.
Thank you all.
Travis.